John Soderkees. He is the CEO of Hope Mission, and he's here in the studio. And John, as I saw you the other evening, and I asked you, how are things going for Piers on the Beach, and how are they going?
They're going great, Lockwood. We've had 2 beaches covered this year since June 13th. That was our kickoff ceremony, and then it runs for 3 months, and then we end it in September with a one-day symposium conference.
All right, and let's talk about this. Piers, by the way, is P-E-E-R-S, not fishing pier, but pier
Correct.
as in a human peer, an individual of equal stature, if you will. I'll use that description.
Yes.
All right, what is that program?
Piers on the Beach we started last year, and it's an anti-stigma campaign to bring awareness to mental health and substance use in coastal Carolina.
Okay. You know, it is interesting. We've talked about this many times before. I want to stress the term mental health. The issue of addictive nature is a mental health issue first and foremost, predominantly.
Yes, there's co-occurring disorders. I mean, everything can be tied into something else. And when you have co-occurring disorders, you can use substance use to kind of cover down on
Right.
the mental trauma. But most of the time, there is always a co-occurring disorder that ties in, whether it's substance use and mental health, whatever the trauma may be.
All right. How's it going this year?
This year's been phenomenal. So in comparison to last year, we were doing 1 beach, and we did the same time frame.
What was the time frame? Let's talk about that.
It's mid-June to mid-September.
Okay, no, but I'm talking about during the week.
Oh, we do it on Fridays at the beach.
Fridays at the beach. Okay.
And so last year we did a little over 500. I think it was 526 with
Did you say
20.
526 encounters.
Correct, actual interactions with people.
Okay, I'm going to get to what is an interaction in a moment. Go ahead. I apologize.
No worries. And from that, we ended up with 26 actual referrals to resources.
Okay.
Someone that wanted programming, recovery program, things of that nature, or wanted them for themselves or for a family member.
Okay, family members was the question I was going to ask. Interaction. What exactly is an interaction in this case?
So we put peer support specialists on the beaches, and
What's required to be a peer support specialist?
so the state just changed the requirements. Initially, it was 12 months in recovery from either substance use or mental health. Now it's 18 months in recovery from substance use or mental health.
Wow.
And along with that is a 50-hour training that they have to go through. And through that, then they can get certified to be a peer support specialist. And you even have a veteran peers, you have certified older adult peers. So there's a various different types of peer support specialists out there. So those are the types of peers that we're putting out on the beach, those who are in long-term recovery from mental health and substance use.
So if I'm out on the beach, I'm a peer, but I encounter an individual who is, as you mentioned, a veteran, for example. But I haven't been a veteran. I didn't serve. However, if I hear that, I'm sort of jumping ahead. I would probably contact you or someone at the at Hope Mission and say, "Hey, I've got a veteran here. I want a veteran to talk to him or
Sure.
her." Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the term peer, someone who's been through the same experience within reason, background, things of that nature.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So the numbers this year.
So as of today, we are at 1,582
Double.
interactions. Oh, over double, 3 times.
I thought it was 500 you had last year. Was it
560, and we're at 1,582.
1,500?
Correct. Between both beaches. And we're at currently 22 referrals to resources or in program acceptance, things of that nature.
Okay. How do people identify these peers?
So one of the things that we also did this year was include other organizations, other peer-led organizations, to kind of cover these beaches with us. And it created different opportunities for different programming or access to different programming for those individuals that wanted either substance use or mental health treatment. So the peers would go out to the beach. For the Hope Mission peers, they all have a teal-colored shirt and it says Hope Mission of Coastal Carolina on it. So everyone's wearing the same, the uniformity. Everyone's wearing the same type of clothing. And that's how they would identify the Hope Mission piers.
Okay. So they would basically walk up and, is there a sign that says, if you have a question, we'd love to talk to you, or that sort of thing?
So we have, at each location, we have a camper at one and a enclosed trailer at another with Hope Mission material that we provide out of that. Tables set up, all of our swag and resources, and then our piers. So you can't miss them when you pull up to the beach, whether it's at Atlantic Beach or the other location is Fort Macon State Park. So you can't miss them when you pull up into the parking lot. And then from there, the interactions are the peers are providing resources to that individual, providing handout materials, talking to them about their personal journeys, giving them swag. I mean, you'll see it out there. The teal Hope Mission Frisbees are out everywhere. So that's how they break the ice, and interact with people that they haven't interacted with yet.
It was a pilot project started in Carteret County, and Hope Mission now has grown. You are now in how many counties?
15 counties right now.
Okay. Let's talk about this in relationship to, and we've got a few minutes before we break. Let's talk about this in relationship to other beaches, other summer events. Is this something that's been tried elsewhere, or is this a pilot project for North Carolina?
It's relatively new. Through this, in the last year and a half that we've been doing these outreach types events, it has created communications with other elements throughout the state, other peer-led organizations that are interested in doing things of similar structure. Like we've talked to other organizations about doing a piers in the park or out in the mountains, piers on the trails. So it's slowly spread its way throughout the state.
I would think that a lot of the interactions have actually been with family members, not with the direct person who's in need of attention or who has an addictive nature. Or am I wrong?
About 75% has been family members. And
referrals, in essence.
And the 25% has been an actual program or a referral into a program.
You're keeping score on, I say keeping score, you're keeping up with the information. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do with all of this when it's all said and done?
Well, we're going to use it to identify the gaps, where the service gaps are, because it's not just Carteret County that we're serving right now. There's other current counties.
One of the things that I was a little surprised at was, and we talked about this in the past, is the level of activity that you've seen. And I'm thinking, wait a second, is this unusual for a county of this size? However, you're dealing with people who are vacating here. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that people that are vacating or recreating would want to come up and talk to you or talk to an individual. Why is that? I would think that they would be, basically out of sight, but it was out of mind.
I think there's a level of curiosity when you pull up to a beach and you see a big, huge camper with a Hope Mission wrap on it, with with swag out there, water, snacks, things of that nature. The support of like the state itself and the counties and the townships are also extremely helpful. So there's legitimacy there while we're out there, because we have to get the partnership through the towns and the state beaches to be there.
Let's talk here for a moment about the other programs that you have going on at Hope Mission. Okay. Because you started out one county of Eastern North Carolina. You're now in 15 counties. What are you doing in those 15 counties?
So it started with a program called Recovery on the Road, and we put peer support specialists in to 5 or 6 different counties, and that's how it initially started. Okay. They were providing mental health and substance use groups and doing one-on-ones. And our focus is the rural counties that are resource deserts, that don't have direct access to substance use or mental health treatment. Mm-hmm. So we started identifying, this is about 3 years ago now, we started identifying those rural resource deserts and started systematically going to the closest ones. And then once we had established programming set up in those counties, and then moved to another 5, and then moved to another 5. Just kind of bolstering our footprint of HMCC and then expanding it, similar to what you would do at a forward operating base, when you start moving down to gain that foothold.
He's a gyrene, but anyhow.
So tactics are they're still useful in this line of work.
Yeah.
So, but essentially that's what we're doing now. We're up in the northeastern counties, Five Fingers, and have moved a little bit west to those 5 counties as well, still maintaining our footprint around Carteret County.
Okay. With this growth, first question, have those counties embraced you?
100%. So it initially started with myself and the director of recovery services going and starting these meetings with health departments, county managers, county commissioners, town managers, local law enforcement, local government, and starting these initial discussions and telling them what we could bring to those counties and towns. And there wasn't any balking at it because it was a resource that they lacked.
It's interesting. You mentioned law enforcement, and we've talked, of course, with sheriffs Asa Buck and Chip Hughes, and also Sheriff Davis in Pender County, and Pamlico County, and they have all acknowledged that your work in the jails have been critical, been beneficial.
Well, we went so far as not just identifying the jails and providing resources in there. We're there in the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction prisons, as well as the detoxes in Trillium's catchment area.
Concept here is reduce recidivism, also to reduce continuation of the addictive nature.
Absolutely. I mean, giving someone hope that doesn't have that
right.
That hope is, seeing peer support specialists that's been in that facility or been incarcerated in that location, and then they're coming back in, and it provides inspiration, to that individual receiving help.
Let's talk about the role of the state. And by the way, that'll lead right into how you're going to wrap things up with Peers on the Beach this year as well. So what is the role of the state in this?
We had applied for some grant funding through the state, and the state's been 2 years ago we applied and were awarded at the beginning of this year. So we're using some of the state funding that we've received to build a new facility. So we'll have justice-involved recovery programming in this new facility. It's given us an opportunity to put some of that funding to use for expanding our outreach programming.
Okay. And I've worked with the Department of Health and Human Services with North Carolina. I've interviewed folks from that. They're participating also with the Peers on the Beach program, are they not?
They are. We've had at the kickoff this year, we had Trillium representation there. Right. We had DHHS representation there. We had our local sheriff and some of our mayors there, as well as some of our local elected officials that were there. At the symposium or our conference at the end of the campaign, Director Kelly Crosby will be there as a speaker, along with many others, sheriffs, mayors, peer support specialists from all across coastal Carolina that are all dealing with the same issues.
This is a nonprofit organization.
It is.
That is partnering with tax-supported programs.
Because the need is there.
And significant.
Right. And
we've got a few minutes left. How significant is that need? And is it growing, unfortunately?
So it is. Unfortunately, it is. That not everyone will accept and adopt one method of recovery for that individual. And depending on if it's a vet, and a lot of times vets don't want to talk about the PTSD or the trauma behind that stuff, but they'll refer to a substance to kind of, but so it's just the individual, and providing an opportunity to find that hope or that recovery or that treatment that's one of the reasons why we started doing our own clinical services as well, so that we're able to provide something along with a peer.
Is there anything, any template similar to this in other states, for example? I'm just curious, or is this basically
So
Self-
there's
self-
few that nothing like this model,
Wow.
but there are few that are faith based, that that are recovery centered.
Yeah.
But not necessarily that I've seen that have also incorporated their own clinical department.
We're talking with John Soderke's Hope Mission. And by the way, John, let's do a little shilling here. You are reliant on public support.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you've got a golf tournament,
Oh, we do.
and you've got that coming up.
September 18th.
Yeah. Which I think I was talking to Glenda. I think I'm not sure that you can register for that anymore. I've got to check with Glenda on that one.
No, all the teams are full. They filled up
wait
about
second.
a month.
But I haven't set my anyhow. Yeah.
I got you covered.
Thank you very much. But there are other events and activities, but
Sure.
this is a program that's supported by the public.
Absolutely, 100%, because that any grant funding that we get is strictly designated to what
That's
that
pointed
application
money.
is
That's
for.
pointed money. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a design behind it. The community support is what keeps the operations going. It keeps the food in the soup kitchen, or it keeps the lights on, or it keeps the donations coming through the thrift store. It doesn't stop just because the state's awarded a grant. That grant's not designed for operations necessarily.
It has a particular usage.
It's brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar. As we wrap it up with you and looking again at this year's success, are you looking at 2020, 2026? Is there...
I'm looking at 2030, Lockwood. Longevity.
longevity.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, with changes in Medicaid and programming like that, it's
point.
it's wise to look down the road past what'll happen.
Hope Mission. If anybody's interested in getting more information, website. What is it?
Website is www.hopemissionnc.org.